All right, imagine a classroom where technology not only enhances learning, but also prepares students for a future we're yet to fully understand. But from AI to robotics, the possibilities are endless. But how do we bridge the gap between today's curriculum and tomorrow's demands? This question brings us to our next captivating session. Education Future Proofed, preparing students for the technological advances of tomorrow. Get ready to be inspired and explore how we can shape an education system that's resilient, adaptive, and forward thinking. Please help me welcome our next moderator for this next session, Jim Rowe, the author, CEO, and CMO at Jim Rowe Marketing.
Come on up. Can you all hear me? All right. Okay. So what I just learned is we should all turn our phones off because it rang as soon as he called my name. I'm one of the panelists and the moderator. So I'm going to introduce everybody first, and then I'm going to go in the order. Now, it is Vegas, so the way we selected the order is that we wrote a number down on 6 chips, and then we pulled it out of a bag. So that is the order we're going in today. So let me start with, I'm Jim Rowe, Amber McMillan.
That's me.
All right. Number 3, Maria Manzano. Number 4 is Christine White, excuse me. And number 5 is Mariah Torello. And number 6 is Richard Paul. Okay. So I'm going to read the questions that we each decided that we would have. And just as an FYI, what we did is we put the 6 questions, we put the bios of everybody into ChatGPT. And we said, why don't we see what ChatGPT would come up with as our questions to be answered asked of each person. And 3 out of the 6 of us chose to keep those questions. So it's kind of interesting to see how it worked, but I thought it was an interesting thing. So I'm going to start with Amber, and this is her question, and then she's going to speak. Please, if you do have questions, hold them until the end, and hopefully you'll have a bunch of questions. We're going to try and do about 6.5 minutes apiece, which will give us about 10 minutes. So, Amber, how can strategic planning be leveraged to ensure that educational institutions are equipped to prepare students for the technological advances of tomorrow, especially in underserved communities? And my final comment is, I'm the time cop. So go ahead.
Well, first of all, what you need to know is I let ChatGPT pick the question. So I didn't change it. So I'm going to go with it. First and foremost, you should know I care passionately about strategic planning, but not because I love to do it myself as much as I love to do it in community with others. I work for not-for-profits. I work also with public sector organizations, as well as for-profits and entrepreneurs. And it's all about figuring out how to have the maximum impact, but with this sense of community contact. Because it's not actually about you as an individual, I think, in business and in education. It's actually about legacy and how do we pay forward the work that we're doing right now so that we can create a legacy to be incredibly proud of. So, how does strategic planning play a part in what we're talking about, which is future-proofing education? I'm not so sure we can proof anything. I think what we can do, though, is we can use an analogy. So this is what I teach my students about one word that can greatly impact their ability to handle the future. And it starts on the dance floor, okay? So picture this. You might want to shut your eyes for some of you who don't dance. Put yourself on a dance floor. Maybe it's a club later tonight in Las Vegas as you're having a few tasty beverages and you're feeling the movement and the music is going and you catch your groove, right? You fall into that sweet spot and your body starts to move. And then what happens? Inevitably, the music changes. And when the music changes, there's only one word that I want to propose to you as the solution to the music change, and that is agile. When you are agile on the dance floor, what do you do when the music changes? You got two choices. You can go sit down or you can catch the next beat. And so I want to talk about future proofing, particularly in my case, higher education requires agility. We have to be agile. And when you're agile, it means when you're on the dance floor and the music changes, you change with it. The challenge, of course, is change is super scary. It's super scary because we fear the loss of what we knew how to do today. We don't know how to do tomorrow. And when AI comes into the education world, like it has for me with my students, I have told them, I want you to use it. I want you to embrace it. I want you to get AI to write your personal reflection essay and see if I can tell. And of course, the joke is, I can tell. You can't get technology to write your personal point of view, and that's okay. You can get it to help you structure sentences, and that makes it easier for an educator like me to read it. But really, what I want is I want to see more agility. And I want to be agile as an individual and as an educator because I think being agile will help us land our future selves. Because the future is always going to be a little bit scary because it comes with change. And change is scary because, like I said, we don't know how to do what we don't know how to do. And so that learning and growth we need to model as educators. We need to model it by being agile and not being afraid. You know, fear is a really great motivator, but it's not a great decision maker because we need to be afraid for a bit of a time and then we need to pull back and think to ourselves, hey, how can we change? So I think the strategy, the strategic plan is to think about how to be more agile. So thanks for listening.
Apparently I'm number 2, right?
Yeah, but he's already mic'd.
Yes, I'm
Oh,
already
that's
back.
true.
Okay, so, my question is, no, got to put the glasses on, sorry. How can marketing strategies be leveraged to ensure that students are equipped to deal with the technological advances of tomorrow? So my purpose today is to share with you a simple, tangible, and proven approach that can help address two foundational skills that students are struggling with that will better prepare them for the advances of technology. Now, by way of background, I've been in marketing for over 45 years, senior positions on the client side, then the agency side, and over 30 years as an agency owner, where I was also the HR director. So my partner said, you drew the short straw. But in doing so, I have the ability, and I've had the experience of interviewing over 500 recent grads, and I have hired, trained, and managed over 100 in my career, because I'm old. And so what I have experienced is I get to see what their skills are like right after graduation, sometimes within a week, which brings me to the issues. Now, this is something I've noticed, but the fact is that in 75% of managers rate the top 2 skills they're looking for are critical thinking and communication. Yet in 3 different studies, between half and 75% of the managers rate the recent grads they've hired poorly on these 2 skills after hundreds of thousands of dollars in school. That's bad. But what's worse is 2/3 to 80% of the recent grads working for those same corporations, they rated themselves proficient. They don't even realize they're not good at those skills. And that brings me to my objective. My objective is to close this skills gap because that's an enormous skills gap. So how am I going to do that? What's my strategy? Well, that starts with a story. When I was a young marketing brand person, my very first marketing boss, I was very fortunate. She was a brilliant woman named Connie Humphrey. And on my first day of work, I was 24, she said, let's go to lunch. And she sat me down and she said, look, marketing is a disciplined approach to problem solving. And therefore, to be successful here and frankly anywhere, you need to be able to think critically to solve problems and to communicate, both in writing and presenting. I thought, well, that made sense. But then she gave me a tool that was as powerful as it was simple. And you're going to laugh because it was a one-page, 10-step briefing document. What? Yes, my entire career and the foundation of it is based upon a blank form. But let me give you a perspective. The reason why this is so important is a briefing document was created because a senior executive's most precious resource is time. And therefore, it's incumbent upon the team to distill all the information down into a structured format that's clear, concise, and compelling so that the senior executive can make a decision within a couple of minutes just after reading it. You know, when I was in school, I remember the teacher giving us a paper and then saying, start with the outline. But she didn't tell us how to do the outline. This format is the outline, and it's been used in the marketing world for over 75 years. It's a staple, and it helps you structure your thinking. I call it strategic writing, and it goes way beyond persuasive writing, which frankly is more academic. Because in strategic writing, it's real world. You need to analyze the situation, to identify the problems, come up with innovative solutions, and then develop a plan and communicate that plan, execute that plan, all with the purpose on achieving a goal and making things happen. So I promise simple. It is simple, but I also said it's tangible. So you can't really teach unless you have some foundation. So when COVID hit and I didn't have anything to do, I said, I'm going to write a book. But I'm not a big fan of textbooks or boring business books. And with a name like mine, the only title it could be would be Get Your Ducks in a Row, spelled R-O-W-E. So therefore, I wrote a fable about ducks in business and how a young duck learned how to use the 10-step form and save the company. And he learned it from his marketing duck rector, Connie Duckfree, if that name sounds familiar. So, and what's interesting is I finished the book and I went, cool, I wrote a book. Never thought I'd do that. But then I went, there are so many other things I wanted to explain to people that helps fill in that 10-step form that I ended up writing book 2, same heading, but this time it's the subhead is Learn the Adapter Method to Problem Solving and Communication. And the adapter is an acronym I created that stands for Analyze, Deduce, Author, Perform, Tackle, Evaluate, and Refine. And it represents the collective way that you have to go about it. It's a process that helps you solve problems and get things done. And so I put all the information I know in those 2 books I don't know anymore. But I also said up front that it would be proven. I was excited because in the fall, the books were used at Angelo State University for 2 communication and PR courses that were grad school courses. And Dr. Susan Keith, who's the head of the department, she told me she selected them for 3 reasons. 1, that they were an entertaining way to learn. 2, that they leave with something that's tangible that is not always the case with a textbook. And 3, she said, I think they should keep them as reference guides the rest of their lives. So after the students read the book, I gave them each class a Zoom presentation. And then as a former market researcher, I sent them a questionnaire. And the results were overwhelmingly positive. I'll give you a snippet into just a couple of results. 90% of the students said that they totally agreed on a 5-point scale with these 3 comments. 1 is they were easy to read and easy to understand. 2 is that they were given something tangible that they could use right away. And 3 is they felt that all college students should read these books. And frankly, I think these books are very appropriate for high school as well. So if you'd like to get in touch with me, it's Get Your Ducks in a Row, ROWE.com, because there's 100 books called Get Your Ducks in a Row. And the beauty of going there is you can either click to the website, to Amazon to get the books. And by the way, they're inexpensive. If you have Kindle Unlimited, they're free. The digital copy is $9.99, and the paperbacks are $14.99. And I said to Dr. Keith, I said, do you want me to give you a discount? She says, they're $14.99. The students can afford that. So I will close with this thought. And that is that the most important part of a building is a foundation. The most important part when you get out in the world is to be able to think critically and communicate. And we're not doing that well. And quite frankly, it's not that hard. All you need to be able to do is to give a duck. Thank you. All right. Now I'm going to read number 3, and we have Maria Manzano. How has technology influenced the evolution of music education, and what innovative methods are being employed at New York City Music Center, New York Music Center, excuse me, and New York City Piano Academy to enhance learning experiences in this field?
Hi, everyone. Thank you for being here. So, as he said, I'm a musician. I'm a classical pianist, originally from Spain, and after several years developing my career, my academic and professional career in different cities in Europe, I decided to move to New York, and I've been there since 10 years ago. So, um, as a leader of these organizations, that are all have in common the commitment to music and culture, we all agree that we need to spread the awareness of the importance of music education. Um, Back in the days, I don't know much in this country what happened 30, 40 years ago, but in Europe and Spain, to take a serious music education, you need to go to conservatories because the school, the music class was sort of like, something for the kids to relax. But over time and years, we have been hearing the importance of and the impact that the music education have in the brain of humans, most importantly in kids. So I'm here to share with you my experience and all I have observed around these 20 years, not only leading these educational organizations, but also being in the classrooms and seeing how the children, um, when they play an instrument, they go, they sing, they dance, they definitely perform better at school because it's not what I think. There are research out there. I just to mention an example, MIT did a recent research where it was published in the Journal of Neuroscience, and it was very very interesting how they scanned 103 brains of musicians and 50 non-musicians, and they found out that there were much more connections in the brain of musicians. I did not know that as a musician. And I was all my life playing, and I just knew it was so difficult. And at a school, for me, it was so easy, and everybody was crying about this exam. I said, difficult is just so. So this allowed me to 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 grow in other sectors in my life beyond playing the piano. So after my first years as a concert pianist, and when you are young, you just dream to be a concert pianist and playing Carnegie Hall and this and that. But actually, in the process of that, I just wanted to share all the valuable advices that I have received. So because of that, we created these companies that 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 our commitment, our main commitment is spreading this awareness not only with those ones that already like music, but with educators, educators that perhaps they know, perhaps they don't, the real impact that it has in the brain of humans. And even in, well, most of you know, I'm sure, about the music therapy too. In adults too, it's never late. It's never late. There are studies also that adults between 60 and 85 years old that have performed, or sorry, first learn a little bit and then perform or have the activity, at least even if it's for fun, just to practice, and just with 15 months of practicing and learning, the studies have shown that they have better memory, better processing of information, and decrease on the loss of memory. So this is my humble, um, uh, information and experience that I wanted to share with all of you, and just thank, of course, Conference 2.0 for giving me this moment to be here and share with these wonderful professionals about their specialties. But I just to and I would like also to say to all of you that whether you guys understand or not anything of the importance of music, or or you have ever played an instrument, it also we also have to take into account that the technology is great and it's very important, and it gives us a lot, but also I don't want to be the negative towards technology, but I'm sure that you all can relate about the when we lose a little bit, the tendency, we have lost memory a little bit since the technology and the chat GPT and all that, and we are having the tendency to just check everything, copy and paste, and that's it. And music education, the things that does is actually the opposite. When you play the piano, you have to think first, or play the violin or any instrument, you have to think first and then you click on, then you, and however, the way that technology is giving us is the opposite. So I feel that technology is great, but we should also be aware that it has to be well used, because in those classrooms I see how the kids are sometimes not focusing anymore, not wanting to listen, and I'm sure that many of you have seen that. So that was basically my thoughts.
Great.
Thank you.
Okay, so next up is Christine White. In what ways does agricultural education serve as a platform for preparing students to navigate technological advancements, and how does your organization contribute to this preparation?
Thank you. As the Chief Program Officer for the National FFA organization, we're a part of agricultural education. We are in close to 9,000 schools across the United States, in Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands, with almost 1 million members of young people from grades 5 through 12 who are exploring agriculture because they understand the demand that is being placed on them as future leaders who will change the world. Um, Agriculture, our world, we have a dilemma. By 2040, we will need to feed, clothe, and fuel close to 10 billion people. In order to do that, we're doing it in an area where we have less land to be able to produce those food to be abundant and healthy. So, as we look at and embracing agriculture, we look to embrace technology to help us in aiding in that process. Today, students are coming into our classrooms with digital knowledge, whether it's TikTok or YouTube or all of the areas where they're using technology. But what we're finding is that teachers are having to embrace it differently. Teachers are using their own methods of teaching, generally because it's what we're comfortable with. As a former educator, I taught the classes and I taught them in the ways that were comfortable for me, for my background of being a daughter from a fruit and vegetable farm, and my educational practices. But what we're finding is that teachers are lacking the confidence and the confidence and competence to teach the advanced technologies that the industry is asking for us. And so, as we look to expose young people to have this knowledge and be able to embrace drones and look at how do you use sensors in fields to help make decisions, it's also important for us to remember that the students will have the easier form to adapt to the technology that's coming out. Most of the students today were born with laptops or iPads or iPods, whatever the form of technology, and they are not afraid of it. But we need to be able to channel them to use it in ways to help make decisions, help understand what does data mean and how do we use that to create efficiencies, how do we use that to be able to articulate strategy for long term production for US and around the world. And so, as our organization, we're finding that education is slow to make adaptations. So, curriculums in classrooms are not keeping up with the trends that our industry partners are helping us. So, through partnerships with sponsors and donors, we've been able to create curriculum materials that embrace understanding sensors, drones. How does a digital learning really take a place in really helping make decisions for agriculture, make decisions for moving those things forward? And so, as we continue as an organization, our goals are really to increase the curriculum in which students are able to work in, figure out additional ways to give students information directly, because they don't need a sage in the front of the classroom teaching them. They need opportunities to explore, opportunities to expand, and then really help them understand what work-based learning is. And so, whether that's creating projects on their own, working for companies that are already in existence, or figuring out research projects and how they're able to explore and create solutions, because they are being challenged to be the solution makers for the future. And technology is not going away. So, helping them to truly understand and embrace that is important. I would be remiss if today is National Ag Day. So if I didn't say that happy National Ag Day, and as we celebrate the awareness of agriculture, everybody in this room is dependent upon it. We eat, we use it for fuel, our clothes. So I just wanted to say it's an honor to be here to speak on behalf of agriculture and education and the National FFA organization, and how we're embracing technology to really enhance the work that young people will do, because they will truly create a better world for all of us, and the legacy that they'll create for those in the future as well. Thank you.
Okay, number 5 is Mariah Torello. In what ways does your educational app for adolescents focused on mastering AI address the evolving needs of students in preparing them for future technological landscapes? And how do you ensure accessibility and inclusivity in its implementation?
Thank you, Jim. I'm Mireia Torello, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of iCreate. Myself and my husband, we are the second generation of a 56-year-old project-based learning school based in Barcelona. It's a school that has been teaching new technologies since the first day, and it's one of the most innovative schools of Southern Europe. And 8 years ago, we deeply thought about what our students needed to face the future, and we started teaching AI. And at that moment, there was nothing available in the market, so we create a full curriculum from scratch. We start teaching them ethics, and slowly, we add the technological part of AI. And then we run international students programs with another schools around the world. And then the other schools were like, wow, like I would love to know your curriculum in AI literacy. I want to teach that to my kids, because our dream when we start teaching AI was that we believe that the kids should use AI as a copilot. It's, for instance, like a hammer. You can use a hammer to destroy a table, but to build a table. So we thought, okay, we are going to explain our kids what is AI, what is behind social media, how social media work, what I see online, if it's real, it's not real. So our students were mastering AI and not the other way around. And then we decided to create an app, because we thought that the teenagers, our age that we teach is between 12 and 17 years old. And we thought that we needed to create something that the kids would love, something that the kids would engage, because teaching AI is such a complex topic that we thought, let's make an app. Let's make short videos, like TikTok videos, 2-3 minutes, so they learn the theory, and they also do the exercises, And we also have included a toolbox with AI tools, so they can learn machine learning, they can learn generative AI by stop being passive users of the mobile and being active. So they can make pictures, they can record like voice noises. And our curriculum starts with ethicals AI. So they use AI ethically, and we teach them, we reinforce math, stats, how to work with databases like coding, from block coding to Python, and at the end they can create their own AI models. And also we believe as an educators that the kids also they need to reinforce the soft skills, so we create a community in our app. So schools from around the world, the kids can create AI challenges together. And it's amazing because you can see that the daily life from kids from different parts of the world is very different. So when you create an AI challenge with kids from different countries, they also have to think about soft skills, like how I communicate with this kid. Oh, there is a time difference, right? So they also learn all these skills. And well, we have seen from our experience as educators that the kids, they really want to learn what is AI, and they are passionate. And once they know that at the end that AI is data, right? It's like an algorithm, is to train an algorithm. When they learn like how ChatGPT works, they feel much more confident. And then in their personal and professional life, we are giving them like this amazing tool that they can face AI. They cannot be manipulated. I'm sorry for the word, but they can understand how AI works. And we have seen from our kids that they feel very confident. So thank you so much for your attention. And well, thank you, Jim. That's it.
Okay. Okay, and last but not least is Richard Paul. How can fostering creativity and innovation within educational settings contribute to future-proofing students against technological advances? And what specific methods or approaches have you found most effective in achieving this goal?
So I've been taking notes of everyone from agile mindsets, creative problem solving, learning by doing, using music for greater cognition training, and addressing the instructor competency gap with today's technology, teaching technology, project-based learning, and experiential learning is also getting that theme from your app. Um, um, for us, it's really about how do we deliver the learning experience in a way that creates a shared experience for the learner or for all learners so that competency can grow. Um, at the Creativity Effect, our focus is giving and creating experiences where people can develop and grow in developing or acquiring new mindsets, mental models, tools and skills so they can be creating better solutions and better outcomes for their life. For us, particularly what I want to focus on today, because we use various models, the one model that we have a lot of success with is using improv or improvisational theater. That's my background. I use improv quite a bit as a performance tool. But we also use improv as a way to create a shared experience where everyone can learn. So typically, in an improv engagement, we have the topic and then maybe a sound bite that we can kind of sum all the learning up in that sound bite. Then from there, we will maybe use some story and then take people through experiential, interactive experiences so that they can embody the learning, right? This is often means getting up on your feet, interacting with people. It could look like conversation. It could even look like role play. And then from there, this is how you really land an improv learning experience is you have to have reflective learning practice. And this is where we've integrated liberating structures. It's a really great resource. The world of Agile is seeing a lot of use of liberating structures. It is a way to activate groups so groups can actually lead their own learning. So if you don't mind, I'd like to reserve the rest of my time with taking you through an improv right now. So, what I would like to know is, if you will, on a count of three, just a big collective yes from everyone, that you'll play along with me. So, ready? One, two, three.
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay, I've got 2 minutes. All right, so
Actually, you have time.
I have time. Thank you. All right, thank you. I'm going to take you out for a beer later. All right. So I want to actually invite everyone to stand up as you're able. Please stand up. I want you to find someone, and I want you to give them a high five. Do that. Now, for this experience, sometimes you might need a tool or some equipment. This is a very cheap office bell you can get at Office Depot. This is called the paired story. What's going to happen is that you and your partner are going to tell a story. Here are the parameters and the rules. The story must start with the words "once upon a time." All right, it's a great way to launch a story. Then the first person will start telling the story, but when I ring the bell, you have to stop where you are mid-sentence, mid-word, mid-syllable, and your partner takes over for what you're saying. All right? To make sure we make it make sense, I'm going to tie this to the topic of yes and mindset, or the creator's mindset, that we're able to accept ideas, build off of people's ideas, suspend negative judgment, meaning we give other ideas room to live and breathe, but we don't always have to agree with everything that we're saying or with each other. We just have to stay in the conversation and generate new learning. This is an example of generative learning. So back again to the game. So you will start, one person will start once upon a time, and you'll go back and forth telling the story. There's one more rule. I want you to make the story about a made-up character, not about you or your partner, but some made-up character, and use your imagination. Now, here's the hardest thing. I need two random words from anybody in the room that will inspire the story. What is word number one? What? Oat milk. Oat milk?
Oh no.
No, but
What?
Oh no! Oh no!
Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Okay, that's a little bit more. Okay, I get it. I get it. But another word. Mango. Oh no and mango. Those are the two different words you have to wrestle with. Face your partner. Face your partner.
Uh-oh.
There may be a group of three. A group of three. All
Group
right.
of three.
All right. Face your partner. The person with the longest hair must begin. Ready, set, and begin.
It was growing
Okay, once upon a
forest
time,
with some ants.
there was
And oh no, that mango discovered that it lost its creativity.
Yeah, and was
and
big.
the bell goes.
And then there was a mushroom next to the tree. And
Oh
the
no! A dog. They're
Stop
going to
talking
eat
about
my
how they can
mangoes.
get creative and create new things.
And then they become so friends that they decided to go for a walk.
Down the street and see how they can
Please.
Creative
And
and
mango
they
had
happily
fleas.
ever after create
together.
So how do we get rid of the fleas? Okay. All right.
You're not done yet. Find a new partner. Everyone go. Find a new partner. Find someone new. Find someone new.
Okay.
Find someone new. Find somebody new.
Then I got to call on a
Go,
second.
go. Move around. Find someone new. Quickly find someone new. Last round. This is the last round. Find somebody new. All right.
Yeah.
We need a
Yeah.
word.
Well,
Give me a
we got
word. Someone random
we got-
word. What? Oreo?
So I'm
And
gonna
then
give
another
everybody
word.
One more minute.
Champagne. All right. Oreo and champagne. The person with the most jewelry, begin now.
I'll go. I'm sorry.
Okay, so we got a few minutes and then stop. So this
Was new to the area and they enjoyed eating champagne.
Yeah, and
okay. So I'm going to ask everybody to make one comment. You got a minute. I'm going to start with you. We're going to go down the road. So you,
And the chocolate was just fantastic that they
whatever you want to
used
say,
it to
or ask. You know, if I say to you, what one question?
and they realized they ate way too many in their belly.
and they make a fire and then put some marshmallows and
I doubt they'll call on us.
Yes.
So we're getting close to the end, but we have time. So I'm going to ask.
All right. Hey, give your partners a big round of applause.
That they want to make when this part is over.
All right.
So if you have one more comment,
So-
make one question.
Because we're running short on time, I want to land this moment with you. Take a moment to think about what that was like. What did you experience? If you think about this moment, this is where you would then maybe take a couple of moments with a group and say, hey, let's root back to the theory that we shared with you, that yes and's about accepting and building off ideas, suspending negative judgment, but you don't always have to agree with what's being said. This is where you would then take your students, no matter if they're adults or children or mix of the two, and have them reflect on what meaning they can pull from the experience. If you can do that in project-based learning, if you do that in experiential learning, and especially if you're trying to explore how students can actually get the technological skills that they need today, improv is a great way to deliver the experience. I hope this was helpful.
Yeah. Okay. All right, so we have about 10 minutes left. Let me start with, does anybody have any questions for any one of the panelists? And if you do, the next question would hopefully go to another panelist. So I see somebody raising their hand. What is your question?
Here you go.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
This is for Maria. As a fellow music educator, I love what you talked about how there is this huge disconnect from music is proven to help children and adults in math and science, yet it's the first thing that's cut from school. And you made the connection that with technology, we click before we think. And as musicians, we have to think before we play. Trying to educate parents around the world when music is proven to help you be better in math by 40%, proven to make you read faster. How, when music is cut from schools, do we re-educate the world when science is on our side and yet kids are delayed in speech because of COVID? They're behind in academics. Music is the answer. How can we educate parents when the data is there?
Thank you
Good
for,
question.
yeah. Thank you for the question, and just to address I see you are from the same field and you understand 100%. Yeah. So honestly, I think that's why we are very committed from the organizations I lead, Neuro Music Center, New York City Piano Academy. I like to come here to connect with educators and talk about this. It's not only about talking to parents, because if I talk to parents, the parents I talk to are those families that are already presented interest for music. That's why they're talking to me. So I think I thought it was more effective coming here to talk to educators and be aware that mathematics are as important as music, and they are both connected. And all the musicians I know, all the professional musicians I know, they are sharks in math. It is like that, I promise. And the kids too. So that's why. I don't have an answer, like the magic answer. And I forgot to say before, related to the question, Jim, that it's not the technology is only bad. It is really jeopardizing in certain parts of the memory. I'm sure that all of you have noticed that you memorize less right now because you kind of rely on the phone. No more for numbers. I don't know for numbers. I don't know addresses. It's all my phone doing it for me, right? So music education actually does that. We have to think first, because you have just one chance, and the way that the kids are thinking is click click click, stimulation stimulation. It's just great, and I'm not against it. And actually technology has beautiful things like getting us together. Like back in the days, those kids who wanted to learn music, sometimes they had to be in a very in a supportive family that could allow them to travel and to have not only going to school but also to music school and blah blah blah. Thanks to technology, we are connected, right? So coming back to your question, I think that we all have to be aware, and that's why I'm here. How we can talk about, the more we talk, the more we spread the word, and it's facts. There are facts and research out there. So that's I keep talking about it. I keep talking about it, but again, for example, our organizations, what we do is trying to embrace technology in a way that we spread globally, right? So thanks to technology, we are doing it rapidly. That's why our community has grown so fast, because thanks to technology, now we can reach out more people. So I think that this is a positive side I did not say before, and I should have finished with
That's
this
good.
positive. That actually, if we use the technology in a positive way, we reach out and we give these kind of messages that not many people know.
I'm going to jump in and say, as a musician, that I've been playing since I was 12. I started out as a math major, and I agree 100%. But the technology is great because I'm so busy. There are so many songs. I used to have to take the record player and listen and listen and listen. Now I go onto YouTube and some guy shows me how to do it in 8 minutes. I can play it.
Oh, yeah.
Just figuring out, the Allman Brother note for note takes some time. So it's that kind of thing. It's great.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Yes. Can we give the mic? Oh,
I've
you got
got
a
one.
mic. Thank you. Perfect.
Thank you. Yeah, for Richard, when you have the improv, what groups are you working with? You high school, college, corporations? Could you share a little bit more about that?
Yeah, we actually work with all levels. So we've worked with Fortune 500 companies, large healthcare systems. We've worked with county governments, and are currently working with 3 different county governments, getting ready to online 4 contracts. Um, we worked recently with a health systems group up in New Jersey, and and really trying to bring design thinking, is particularly the emphasis of empathy within nursing, especially how to apply empathy in a tangible way,
Sure.
right? So that you can evoke the problem solving that could be there. And so we find that improv is an example of a microstructure, and that there are macrostructures. A macrostructure could be like this building, a street, an airport. Those are large structures that allow us to get things done, but they're so big that there's a lot of inflexibility. So you have to have microstructures, ways that people can work together, learn together, that allow for the flexibility, the nimbleness, the agility that Amber spoke about earlier before. And so we use improv with all of these different audiences. The key, though, is we try not to call it improv games, because it turns off a lot of executives,
Yes.
right? That's like games. I earned my spot here, so we call them cognitive engagements. The reason why.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I didn't come up with it. That's Dr. Karen Tilster right over there. She's my mentor and the generator of those things. So if you all really want to learn from the best, you learn from her.
Great.
That's I'm saying it. So, but the idea of a cognitive engagement is that we're going to take you through an experience, and then we're going to see what kind of lessons, skills, or tools we can pull from it.
Okay,
welcome.
great. We have 3 minutes left. Any last question? One last question. Nobody? Okay, well, anybody else? Is there a question? I can't see. Somebody?
I teach computers. Thank you so much. I teach computer science and I'm in the Boston area, so I'm in and out of MIT a lot with their developers. And I was wondering if any of the musicians in the group, I'm just looking at the name of this, know about the platform called Hyperscore.
No.
It's called Hyperscore. It's kind of Scratch for musicians.
I know, she's one of our faculty members. That she's here from Barcelona. And we know music score. Like we have several, but do you wanna share with us the Hyperscore?
Just curious. Yeah, it's
We
really
use there is a lot of tools there.
Yeah.
We know MuseScore, Sibelius, Finale. I don't know if you're familiar with that. Also Flat. They are all similar. Is that one related with composition?
Yes.
Yes.
She's
So
coming
they are
from
all
going to
similar.
summer
It
camp
is a
in just
wonderful tool, because what allows is the kids are writing the score digitally, and you can make it sound like as you go, and we use similar tools for, I think, if it's the
Yeah, I was wondering if you use tools like that
yes,
to
we do use
incorporate
tools like that
programming.
in composition class, in music theory. flew in Miss Laura Madria. She's a faculty member in the Neuromusic Center, New York City Piano Academy, and she's the head of the Department of Music Theory. So we use a bunch of tools like that, and yes, they are definitely very useful.
Great, thank you. Thank you all very much for coming. Thanks for having us.
Excellent job, panelists.